Hey, what's going on? This is the Wealth Building Educator. Hope everyone's having a great time. Today, I wanted to talk about an article that I came across on the internet that really hit home. So, recently, my wife and I have had the opportunity to pay a housekeeper to come every now and then and straighten up, do some things that we don't necessarily see or we don't have the opportunity to take care of. And they are so much more efficient at it than we are. And it's really affordable. It's one of those situations where, I wish we could bring this housekeeper every week. Of course, at the end of the day, when you look at the numbers and calculate how much it costs you, you don't want to pay these particular fees, but at the same time, you don't want to do the work. So you have to ask yourself, is it worth it to throw this money at a housekeeper to come every week or every 2 weeks rather than every month or every 2 months? Well, this article kind of hits on some of those things, and we will talk about that. So let me go ahead and get into the article first, and then we'll come back and we'll do a deep dive into it. Okay, the article is titled, "I spend $1,000 a month on services to make my life easier, and I'm convinced that it's completely worth it." So the article is basically Rachel Morgan Cotero, and it looks like she's a freelance writer and a stay-at-home mom. So let's go ahead and get into the article. Time is money, or so they say. Even as a stay-at-home mom, freelance writer, I still put a premium on my time. That's why I don't feel bad about splurging on things that streamline my daily life, like meal delivery services, and grocery delivery, cleaning crews, or weekly lawn service. So let's go ahead and stop right there so far. So basically what she is saying is that, there are some things that she will spend money on that, ultimately streamlines what she does on a daily basis. And one of those things is meal delivery services and grocery delivery, cleaning crews, or weekly lawn maintenance. So it's a funny story. I've been having the same lawn guy for a few years now, and he comes every 2 weeks and he charges $50 to cut the grass. And he does a great job. And recently, before we went on our little vacation, I texted him and said, "Hey, we're gonna take a break on the lawn." And every winter around this time, when it starts getting cold and the grass really doesn't look 100 times better when it is cut as it does in the spring and in the summer, I usually text him and tell him, "Hey, we're gonna take a couple of weeks, a couple months off." Well, I looked in the backyard and the other day, and I was like, "Wow, the grass never looks this bad this time of year." I said, "Hey, he hadn't come cut it," because I told him not to come cut it. So I said, "Oh, after I read this article the first time, it might be time for us to spend that little $50 or $100 a month to have him come cut it again." But let's go ahead and get back into this article. Other splurges I fully stand behind: monthly babysitters. Research has shown that taking time to unwind has a direct effect on productivity. Even at-home workout equipment, which equals less time spent commuting to the gym and saving money on drop-in classes of gym memberships. So we have put in a cancellation of our gym membership. We just signed back up for the gym, if I'm not mistaken, around 8 months ago. My wife has gone one time, and none of us other four have gone one time in those last 8 months. So if you calculate the $63 a month for a family times 8 months, that's approximately $480 that we have thrown down the drain for a membership that we don't even need. And right behind us, we have this punching bag, and we have a treadmill. And we also have a Max trainer that we are going to be getting into and we're going to be using. Since we've already paid the money for those, we may as well give ourselves a raise by canceling the gym membership and using equipment that we already have. Another plus, knowing that my money is spent directly improving the quality and efficiency of my life, makes it easy to stick to my budget in other areas, like going out to dinner, travel, or buying clothing. Here are the top things I splurge on and why I don't feel guilty. So right here, she says cleaning services and lawn maintenance. Let's read a little bit to see what she says. When we moved into our current house, it was significantly bigger than our first home, a small colonial with just 2 bathrooms and 3 bedrooms. Now we have about 1,000 square feet, or 1,000 more square feet, plus an additional bathroom and bedroom. So she says they pay $120 every other week to have their home clean. So it's about $220 a month. While the amount isn't a small amount of money, I can easily make that up in 3 hours of work, which ironically is about the amount of time it will take me to clean our house myself. Lawn maintenance service, they also splurge on. You know, I've lived in Florida, so I could understand the extreme heat and the rain. And to pay somebody to do that, I think is a game changer. So it's $150 a month. Obviously, they were used to the 110, so an extra $40 a month. You got to ask yourself, is it worth it? And clearly, to them, it's worth it. So that's $370 for the lawn maintenance and cleaning services. Grocery and meal delivery services, that's about $500 a month there. Self-care costs. Let me see what she's talking about here with the self-care. No, I'm not saying I schedule monthly visits to the spa or nail salon. In fact, with a 1 and 3 year old, 1 and 3 year old, my goodness, those outings are rare, but I do earmark funds for other self-care items like home workout equipment and monthly babysitter so we can enjoy an adults only evening out. So I can totally understand where she's coming from with the adults only evening out. There was a time when my wife and I, when we moved here to Texas, we had a little one, and then we added 2 more little ones. And there was a time when we didn't necessarily have family around. And I can remember how tough that was. You're always with each other. You never had that adult time. And since family has moved into town and they live close to us on both sides, it has made it so much easier for my wife and I to do the things that we need to do. Fortunately, we don't necessarily have to spend money in order to get those babysitters. We actually went on a cruise last week, went to California, and we were there for a few days, and we were on a cruise for a few days, and we had babysitters, who are our family members. And I would have gladly paid money to have those babysitters if we didn't have the opportunity to have family members. So it's definitely worth it. That's one of the areas where, it's totally worth it to splurge so you can have that family time. Because one thing that is difficult to do when you get married and then you have kids is to transition from being a spouse to a parent. You don't want to just be a parent. You want to remember exactly why you have those kids, and it's because you had a spouse first, and you want to be able to share those moments. And unfortunately, if you don't have those family members there, you might have to splurge a little bit. And I agree 100%. It's totally worth it what she's doing here. They got the alternative to the Peloton. Let me see. They have the monthly subscription. To be honest with you, I believe that any self-care that you actually use, any gym membership or anything you actually pay for and you utilize it, it's worth it. It's worth its weight in gold. Let me see. So she said they spend about $945 a month for household splurges. Okay. So let's talk about that a little bit. So when I read this article, I was thinking to myself, a Dave Ramsey quote. We were big into the Dave Ramsey game years ago. And one of the quotes that he always said was to live like no one else so that later you can live like no one else. So ultimately what he is saying is that you sacrifice, you do the things you need to do now so that later you get to do the things that no one else is able to do because they didn't put in a sacrifice that you put in early in the game. And I look at it like, hey, we put in the sacrifice. We put in that time. We put in a difficult effort. We said no when we had to say no. Now we can do things that we never would have dreamt of doing. And it allowed me to question myself and have those conversations with myself so that I can go back to my wife and let my wife know, hey, maybe we need to put these things in a budget, because we do have those monthly budget meetings. So why not just allocate $200 a month to go towards the housekeeper who we know is phenomenal, and she does a much better job. She can do in 5 hours what we can't do in 2 weeks. She'll come in, she's efficient. That's her job. And she does a great job at it. So why can't we just dedicate $200 a month towards her? And why can't we go back to dedicating $100 every 2 weeks, or $100 a month for our lawn guy, because those are things we're not going to do. We're not as efficient. This is their full-time jobs. If I could get a full-time chef, that would be a game changer. Now, of course, that's going to be super, super costly, but having a meal prep service, a meal delivery service, something like that definitely needs to be in the conversation, because my wife will even tell you that one of the most difficult things that we deal with on a weekly basis is grocery shopping, cooking, and cleaning. Those three things right there are an absolute game changer. And it's something where it might be worth whatever we have to pay for it. But right now we're not ready for it. We've cut in various areas. We actually have cut cable and we've cut these things. But I think ultimately we might have to beef up our monthly expenses when it comes to things that make our lives easier. So this article was a phenomenal article. It made me do some soul searching, and I will definitely update you all on the decisions that we make in the next few weeks regarding spending money on services that make our lives easier. So, hey, I appreciate you all for tuning in. That was a phenomenal article. Hopefully you can check it out, and let me know in the comments below if you decide to make any financial changes to make your life easier. Thank you all very much. Have a wonderful day.